Okay, this is time to discuss about the good teacher. As we all aware about that, we're going to be English teacher one day. Our ultimate object of entering this in a college is to become an English teacher. Maybe some of the students in here, they have maybe different aim, but most of students, I guess, they want to be the English teacher in the future. Then let's think about then who can be the good teacher. I think this is a very important issue. We need to always think about who can be the good teacher. Let's look at this statement. Do you think this person can be a good teacher? More experienced colleagues tell me that I should play the role of confident, knowledgeable teacher. As I work into my classroom, I feel myself trying to become that teacher. But somehow I'm never comfortable with it and never quite sure how I should be in the classroom. Well, if I have to play some certain kind of the role to pretend to be a good teacher, do you think I can be the real good teacher? What do you think about? In this section, we are going to talk about the relationship between the teacher and the authenticity. Then what is the definition of authenticity? Authenticity means behaving in a way that is appropriately real, appropriately you, letting the student see something of your genuine reaction to things, your moods, and your natural behavior rather than covering everything up in a performance. So for example, if your teacher actually she's very angry at someone, she's very angry with somebody else, she's very angry at behaving of the certain students, but she pretend to be she's pretend not to be angry with that students, then she's not authentic. According to Carl Rogers, the teacher can be a real person in her relationship with her students. She can be enthusiastic, can be bored, can be interested in students, can be angry, can be sensitive, and sympathetic. Thus, she is a person to her students, not a faceless embodiment of a curricular requirement, nor sterile tube through which knowledge is passed from one generation to the next. So, teacher is a human being, not a robot, just to teach the knowledge, to carry the knowledge to the students. If teacher just pretend not to be happy, not to be angry, I don't feel like students feel like they are genuinely interacting with the teacher. So that's why the authenticity is very important for teacher to have the good relationship with the students. According to Carl Rogers, authenticity created the conditions for good rapport and helped build a real depth of trust and respect, and that this made the differences between a successful classroom and unsuccessful one. So as you can see that this statement, to have a good relationship with your students, you have to be authentic. You have to be real yourself rather than just play some kind of the role to just pretend you are the good teacher. But there is opposite opinion. According to the Su, putting on a great performance is recommended to be a good teacher in the classroom. She said, remember that how you feel inside doesn't matter. Your aim is to develop an air of confidence, self-control, and mastery of everything that happens in your classroom. A stage on which to perform, a show to present, an audience watching your every move, a character to step into. When you're on that stage, being the teacher, you're not playing yourself. I think in Korea, we are more familiar with this opinion, right? I think we have a concept that teacher should control himself or herself. If teacher show his honest, genuine, authentic feeling toward the students, he or she may not be a good teacher. Do you agree with me? This is very interesting, isn't it? So we can guess that, we can predict that there is a heavy relationship between cultural context, culture, and the concept of a good teacher. Yes, we are right. Educational culture and authenticity of the teacher, they are not mutually exclusive. I mean, two of them, educational culture and authenticity of the teacher, they are heavily related to each other. Many educational cultures will offer a strong force of discouragement to a teacher who wants to be authentic. There may even be legal restriction on what a teacher can say or do. In a school where all the other staff are adopting the role of distant, formal, dignified authority, it could cause real problems for the teacher to try and buck that trend. A first response from students might be to lose faith in the teacher who is not behaving according to expectations. Sorry, my voice is cranky. This is 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, yeah, but yeah, I don't get used to make this kind of the lecture, so it takes ages for me to make this online lecture, but it's okay. You know, um, I will do my best because otherwise, you cannot learn anything because of the coronavirus one night. So, we will overcome this obstacle. So don't worry. Um, so this means that, depending on the culture, um, maybe the degree of the being authenticity by teacher can be different. Because the norm of the good teacher can be different depending on the culture of the country. So you have to follow that norm of the good teacher. So if you do not follow the cultural norm, you cannot have the good relationship with your students, no matter how good you are in terms of the being authentic. You don't need to give up your intention to behave more authentically, but it would only be sensible to tread carefully, making small changes, chipping away slowly at expectation, and initially perhaps avoiding too much that might be seen as threatening to the other teacher or students. So in other words, even though you go to the different culture and your culture do not allow you to be authentic as much as you expect, but still you do not have to abandon, you do not have to give up your intention to be authentic. The best way is that you have to carefully find out what are the expectations of the good teacher, and then um, even though they don't really expect the teacher to be authentic, you can just change little by little, then it should be alright. So, but if when you try something, but either your colleague, other teachers, and your students dislike too much, then don't try it. Just step by step. Then, how can the teacher be more authentic? Actually, there are some small but important ways that a teacher could work on becoming more authentic. Okay, let's talk about some techniques, which are 5 steps to authenticity. The first thing is that don't try to be a teacher. So stop yourself whenever you find yourself behaving more as a job title rather than as yourself. Don't speak as if you are someone's sort of official mouthpiece, but the teaching professions or your school. Don't seek out additional way of differentiating yourself as a teacher. So don't emphasize that you are a teacher. The second thing is that have real conversations. When you chat informally with the students, make it a real conversation where you really listen to what they have to say and respond appropriately. Give your one genuine personal reactions to students' comments. If something a student says makes you disagree, say so instead of, interesting. So if you do not like some of your students' opinion, just say, oh no, I don't like it. Do you think so? Oh, that's awkward, things like that. Rather than just, oh, that's interesting. You pretend you understand everything. Don't be like that. Next, don't pretend omniscience. Omniscience means you knows everything. Okay, you're a genius. You're a genius. You knows everything. Okay, in Korean, 천지, 박식, 천지의 신. We are not God. Your teacher, professor, we are not God. So don't pretend omniscience. If you don't know an answer to a question, say that, rather than pretending that you do know or confusing students with the roundabout explanation and avoidance. Sometimes, we find out something we never heard about. Then just pretend, don't pretend. You know everything. Just say honestly, oh, I don't know this one, but I can find out this one in next class. So can you wait for me? Things like that. And you can ask the students, come to my office after class. We can find out this answer together. Things like that. Okay? Next, be wary of a staff room advice. It means that colleague may tell you that being genuinely warm and friendly with the students is dangerous, or that is essential for a teacher to keep up a front. As some are reserved, formal, and a little distant, their comments are probably well-intentioned, but treat such advice cautiously and make sure you think it through for yourself before you decide to follow it. For example, some of the colleagues, some staff room give some kind of advice to you, but think about that. That advice may not appropriate for yourself. So be wary about the other people's advice. Next, be appropriately authoritative. Being authenticity does not mean that you give up all your authoritative. So the responsibility and duty of the teacher still you have to follow, you have to keep those kind of the things. You can still give all the instruction, set all the homework, and do all things that you need to do. You can be appropriately authoritative. The difference is that it is you being authoritative, not you using the clock of teacher superiority and hierarchical authority to do it. So still, You can be authoritative as a teacher, but still you can be authentic to your students. Just remember, the most important thing to be authentic is being yourself. Okay? Look at this excerpt. I often think I should be a tough, disciplined teacher, organized and focused. And John Wayne, a pedagogue, another Irish schoolmaster, wooden stick, strap, cane. Sometimes I joke, "See, that's it, kid, and be quiet, or I will break your bloody head." And they laugh because they know, yeah, isn't something. When I act tough, they listen politely till the spasm passes. They know. What do you think about this teacher? Think about? Do you have a similar image of the kind of teacher? How do students react? Does our culture context allow such a kind of teacher in the classroom? Okay, so let's talk about some techniques. There are two common thoughts about being authentic in class, okay? The first one is that I worry about revealing our one limitation. For example, a non-native speaker's concern about her one language knowledge, especially within a culture that does not easily accept teachers' dimensions of the gaps. Well, the fact that students will be able to see through any pretense means that even though both issues are worrying, it seems likely that more tensions and problems will be created by hiding the truth, potentially undermining students' trust. So, for example, I'm Korean Australian. Yeah, so if I just pretend I don't speak Korean at all, and my Korean is very bad, so when you speak Korean to me, I never understand what you mean when you're talking to me, then your level of trust toward me will be really bad. So, you know, don't pretend anything to your students, all right? And second doubt is that questions as to whether we should be completely sincere in situation where we are. For example, when we are mad or very angry, very disappointed with certain students. Can we really show that we are tired or depressed or have a hangover? Yeah, we all get through this experience, we can't satisfy all students. Also, sometimes some of the students are very annoying out of your expectations, so you can be very angry at him or her. So on this point, why self-control is important? A teacher's open expressions of anger or disappointment with some piece of student's behavior may prove to be more effective in getting through to the students than applying some correct disciplinary procedure and thereby reverting to authoritarian distance. So I don't think it's good to lose temper, but in a nice way. Just express your honest feeling toward the students, okay? Because teaching somebody else is always kind of communicating each other. All right, so you have to communicate each other how you feel about and how such students feel about that given situations. All right. All right, so this is the end of my class today, and this is reference. I really like this book, Classroom Management Techniques. I bought this book. I think when I went to the conference in Japan. I think 2 years ago. This book is very useful. So for this course, for this class in this semester, I often use these books. All right. Wow, this is nearly 4 o'clock in the morning. I better to go to bed. But don't worry, I'll be back around, I think, the 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and also or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So after listening to the all my class, leave a question in the Kakao Talk. Sometimes I can't reply, quickly, but I will reply Monday. I don't know when, but I will make sure to reply all your questions. But just make sure don't leave questions after 9 p.m. or before 9 a.m. and during the weekends, okay? But between 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. except the weekends. If you leave any question, I will make sure to reply all your questions. Okay. Thank you for listening to my class. Bye.